Just another interesting thought here on the timeline analysis. Recently on 9gag, and this is not just recently, this is a reoccurring experience with 9gag and other social media as well. Mainstream social media, Instagram, Facebook, you name it, Reddit, etc., Twitter. But on 9gag. So, someone was quote unquote attacking me, I think is what weaklings call it when someone throws pixels on a screen at you. Oh, the mean words, the creative writer. But they were attacking me for being against pornography. Now, see, on my Gab account, I figured out from psychology there's two types of language, transmission and reception. So mostly on Gab, I've only been doing transmission. I haven't checked my notifications. And they're almost at 12,000 right now. My mental health has improved insanely by just not subjecting myself to feedback from the internet, just random comments from anonymous accounts, etc. Hadn't got there with 9gag yet. Looks like I'm there now. I'm over 200 comments, so I'm just too busy to check them. But there was an account who was against my opposition to pornography because I was citing an article from the 90s saying that pornography and pedophilia are connected, that pornography is criminogenic to pedophilia, that pedophilia is increasing as a result of pornography, which means also as a result of marijuana, because marijuana and pornography, they're like miracle grow for each other, those two industries. And marijuana does cause rapes. There is a ton of literature about the role of marijuana in sexual assault. Number one date rape drug. Since 2019, it surpassed alcohol. Anyway, so this account had a pornographic profile picture. And this is not a unique experience on 9gag. There are many accounts that I've reported for inappropriate profile pictures, because this is a website that children can use. It's for minors. And yet there's pornographic profile pictures that the mods don't do anything about. There's child pornography on that site on the regular, daily. And I report that because I don't want to see it. I just want to enjoy memes, along with regular pornography, etc. And the mods allow it. So I figure it's the CIA, the deep state, because they were also using it for Ukrainian war propaganda and drug propaganda and pornography propaganda. But the latest interaction was the guy was a furry. So he had a picture of dog man sex as a profile picture. I did not want to see that. Nobody should have to see that. I reported it, and I called him out on it, so to speak. Of course, it's just the internet, but nothing happened. They allowed it. So, when I ask about the difference between the violent reaction to pornography and pedophilia and transgenderism, because Weimar had child prostitution. America has a lot of child prostitution. It might not be public, it might not be obvious. It's been happening. If you Google, I don't know if it'll still come up because the cannabis industry puts money into Google to suppress these results and rig the results, but there were underage girls prostituting themselves for marijuana in Colorado in 2014. I guarantee they still do it, but that was when there was a shred of morality left, apparently, in Colorado, that somebody was upset about it. This shouldn't be happening, which I agree with. And then, of course, marijuana corroded the morality, so it's just the increased child prostitution for marijuana and decline of law enforcement, legal consequences, etc. So, if you're telling me that the Nazis beat the shit out of people that had sex with animals and children in the streets, publicly. That makes me like the Nazis. Why isn't America like that? We used to be like that. It used to be if you were furry, you would get your fucking teeth knocked out. The first execution in the colonies was a horse fucker. Yeah, we used to be moral. What happened? Well, have many videos about what happened, but we can call this the pussification of America. America was pussified through capitalism. Capitalism provided the products, provided the marijuana, provided the pornography. Now you might say, Gabe, marijuana's only been legalized fairly recently. The establishment of a black market marijuana, right, marijuana black market industry, began here in the 1960s and was socially engineered through so much marijuana propaganda, including Cheech and Chong and then Snoop Dogg and the 90s and, Dave Chappelle in the 2000s and so forth and so on. And a ton of others all in here from Hollywood creating this black market that transitioned into the legal market. As the marijuana market grew, violence against dog fuckers, pedophiles, etc. declined. That is not a coincidence. That is by design. I watch gore videos of third world justice where a man will get caught raping, not even a child, a grown woman, an adult. They don't take the approach America does. Oh, excuse me, sir, may I please arrest you? I'm so sorry for this systemic oppression, this systemic racism. No, they publicly executed a guy after castrating him. They tied his wrists and ankles together in the middle of the village, and everybody, hit him with rocks and sticks. I think one guy cut him with a machete a few times, and they cut off his dick and his balls to a whole cheering crowd. And I think then they lit him on fire. They doused him in gasoline and lit him on fire. These were uneducated people of color. And their instinctual morality was justice. In the United States, what happened? I mean, was it Christianity? Was there this shift in focus into the love your enemies? If they're trying to stab you, give them the cloak off your back. Like Christianity, right? This like namby-pamby, limp-wristed, milquetoast Christianity. Pacifism. Yeah. Is that what happened? Plus, I mean, capitalism and freedom had a huge thing, but Americans have never really been free. They have the illusion of freedom. Right? You're free to choose between Pepsi or Coca-Cola. It's not really freedom. Yeah. And most people are too stupid to even know that. It's insane to me how effective all this was. How this, elite, cabal, Illuminati, whatever you want to call them, pulled this all off. This rich, wealthy, powerful people that got us from a point where we were instinctually moral. We had these instinctual morals of violence against people who deserved it, to, well, the opposite. It's inverted. It's subverted to inverted morality. And this is why there is a huge rise. One of the causal components, one of the contributing factors to the rise in anti-Semitism is we still have those base instincts towards violence against the moral degenerate, the people who have sex with dogs and children, etc. And it's really easy to say, oh, well, that's the Jews, right? When you look at Weimar Berlin, and Hitler was talking about the mounds of culture, right? Which is basically saying the movies were just piles of dung, piles of poop. And blaming the Jews because they were the producers and directors of those films. I'm going to guess he was right about that. They largely were Jewish. Somehow he's not blaming the whites, who likely were having sex with children and animals. I think even to this day there's bestiality brothels in Germany or something. I read it on the internet. It cannot be true. But somehow those whites weren't accountable for their actions. It was the fault of the Jews who made the movies that influenced them. And so it's really easy to blame someone else for our own actions and decisions. And to an extent, I'm doing that. Right? Lou Adler, Leo Cohen. Their influence led to my brother forcing weed on me, which destroyed my life. So there is some validity to that. But there are Jews against those things. There are Jews against porn. Rabbi Tversky. And a whole organization he founded called Guard Your Eyes. There are Jews against marijuana. Not all of them are religious, but even Rabbi Moshe Feinstein. So it's very confusing because the dichotomy here. Well, do I go for Nazism, which violently opposes these things, or Judaism, which isn't violently opposing these things but is opposing them? No idea. Enli Musag. Just some thoughts, random observations. So one of the thoughts I had was Germany fought the devil and the devil won. Like, right? Germany fought the devil and the devil won. In terms of the Nazis fighting against the wealthy globalist elites pushing pornography, inflation, drugs, etc. So, is the devil the Jews? No, because there was Jewish Nazis. What's really insane is the Nazis had to fight capitalism and communism. They had to fight the drought and the flood. As in, America was capitalist, the Soviet Union was communist. Wild stuff. But as I'm thinking that, my mind was just shutting down from the APA format manual. I read all of the research chapter, and it was really interesting stuff about analysis of variance and, distribution and variables and all kinds of stuff. But it's like I hit a wall where my brain just wouldn't absorb any of that. So I started, I downloaded an app, which is a Judaism app. But on top of that, I actually started reading this complete Art Scroll Sidur. And just some observations there, right? So, the American Psychological Association formatting manual is so stupid. The professor can't even stick to it, and he's grading me harshly for not sticking to it. One of the book that we're reading, one of the two books of his course, is one that he wrote and was published, and has so many grammatical errors, spelling errors, and I'm emailing him screenshots saying, "Oh, is this supposed to be that? Is that?" And he's like, "Yeah, you're right. Those are errors." But what's even worse is this is a white Christian from Texas, the professor. And in that book, he brings up Barney Stinson, who was a fictional character. In the fictional show, he had a ton of extramarital sex. That was his whole character. In reality, he was played by Neil Patrick Harris, who was a homosexual. And this white Christian is using this guy as a research example for, this, research design. And then he also, of course, brings up Dave Chappelle at one point. I'm just thinking, this is white Christianity. This is like Ted Cruz. How dare the communist Chinese deprive my children of gay pornography in the Freddie Mercury movie? Like that's what happened in Texas. White Christianity, eh? It's so stupid. And it gets even worse. But so yeah, I downloaded this app, and I'm also doing the Hebrew. And somehow it's like a drug. It's very comforting. It's interesting because it's like I've replaced drugs with diet, exercise, and religion. And those things have replaced family. My family is terrible to begin with, so. But somehow doing Judaism again, just because that's what the app is. It's got like, the Torah portion and Parashah and things like that, and the Rashi and the Rambam commentary and stuff. It's pretty cool. I like it. But it seems to be replacing family again, that feeling of love and warmth and comfort and stuff like that. Even more powerful than the Catholics, etc. Which means that I'm becoming okay with being isolated again and not spending time with people in real life. Like, I already don't want to go to the Mormon church. I'm supposed to go Sunday, and I didn't want to believe in any of their stuff. Like, I'm not going to, but I at least wanted human contact. Looks like that's out. And the Catholic Church, I was thinking about going back there. Their next thing is the 17th, but somehow Judaism is just this powerful energy in my smartphone and the books that I have. And the book is amazing. It's so intelligent and well written. It's far better than any Christian stuff. About prayer and just all kinds of stuff. Very powerful stuff. So it's very confusing as all. Just observation on the roommate and symptoms of dementia, which I explained to him this morning. The only explanation for his lack of cleaning, etc., is either he's a selfish, lazy asshole, or it's dementia. Now let him pick which one. Now every time he is confronted with reality that he does not like, he's like a turtle that goes inside its shell. He just clams up, stops talking. Gets this look on his face like, I hate this. Almost like he's back 5 years old in trouble in school for doing something stupid and thinking he's the victim of persecution from the teacher, instead of his brain just acknowledging that other people exist and his actions impacted them in a negative way. He seems incapable of comprehending that. I've confronted him very specifically on that. Don't you think you can frustrate others? I know I can never. I never frustrate nobody. I know for a fact. Okay. Anyway, so yesterday, he's not a bad person. This isn't, meant to be pooping on him. Not poo-pooing him. Yesterday he shampooed the carpet, which was very nice because I've been giving the dog that liquefied dog food that I was making. So, he's helping. It's a really good thing. And the shampooer got clogged with dog hair. So I simply said, well, didn't you vacuum first before shampooing? He said, no, I knew you vacuumed in the morning. No, I didn't vacuum in the morning. I stopped vacuuming in the living room because I got tired of this shit. It gets really, really frustrating constantly having to be a care provider for someone who's got, early onset dementia as a result of his own actions because he refuses to listen to the doctor and comply with their instructions on medication. So even if I had vacuumed, it seems like he lacks the concept of time. Had I vacuumed in the morning, the dog still would have been laying in the living room all day. Was laying in the living room all day as I exercised in the living room. So there still would have been dog hair. If I vacuum at 6 a.m. and the dog is in the living room from 7 a.m., 8 a.m. till noon and beyond, there's going to be dog hair by the time he shampooed the carpet at 8 p.m. To me, this is very, very simple, common sense stuff. Yet this man struggles with things like this, and I recall this when he worked at the butcher shop. I told him I was eating kosher, and I didn't trust him because he doesn't wash his hands. He said, "Man, I wash my hands." And the way he explained it, it was like he washed his hands and then it touched, the pork and then the beef. And so he didn't understand that you're supposed to wash your hands after you poop and before you touch the food, not wash your hands, then poop, then touch the food. I can't imagine how many people have eaten that guy's microscopic fecal matter out of that butcher shop. But it's the South and people are nice. And so I think it's a bit of both. I think it's a combination of stupidity and assholeness. And I think his assholeness comes from a lifetime of stupidity, of people getting sick of his shit and confronting him on it, and instead of acknowledging that he had done anything wrong, just being like, "This is everyone else's fault. Meh."